0 goals in 421 minutes. No, I'm not talking about Radamel Falcao because he did score, I think, recently.
Asterisk, PSG minutes.
PSG minutes.
Sorry. He scored for the guy you're about to say. Scored internationally.
Okay. PSG minutes.
Thank you.
Well, that gives it away. I was kind of going to tease it and see if they could guess who we were talking about. No, I'm not talking about Cavani, who I like to criticise a lot about not being...
Scored this weekend.
Yeah, he scored this weekend. And he's just on a rampage to say, F you, Francis Maxwell, for your constant criticism. But another person that isn't shy of my criticism, probably because the mainstream media likes to build him up.
I got it.
No, Balotelli.
Messi, because he was supposed to go to PSG. He hasn't scored in 421 PSG minutes.
You're right. And there are a lot of people we could just name.
A lot. Costa.
Donald Trump has it.
Trump.
Don't know where we're going with this. But we'll bring it back to the actual person we're talking about. Zlatan Ibrahimovic has not scored a goal in 421 PSG minutes and is turning 34 when?
This week.
Happy
week. Birthday, Zlatan.
The big 3-4. Born in a good... No, I was going to say born in a good month, but I'm born in October, man. Where is the date? I'm thinking we're in October already. You're born in September?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say good month.
Great month.
Good month.
Strong month.
Could be better. Could be
I don't really know.
Could be
one. Can you give me a better month?
Yeah, October, Halloween.
Overshadowed by Halloween.
Halloween.
You have to share a holiday with your birth. I don't really know where that...
You're overshadowed by pumpkin spice lattes coming back to LA. No one cares about anything but that.
Oh, I saw a great post about what... Sam Oktoberfest is the pumpkin spice latte for men.
Great post. Want to see it? So Zlatan, anyway, so this is mainstream media's, I would say, food for thought because they like, right? They like to think that players, big players in the Premier League and La Liga and Ligue 1 in France, and as soon as they go through a drought, people love to try and jump on this and try and make it seem that they're going through a dry spell because they're no longer of that same stature of what they were before. And I would actually argue for many of them that this is ridiculous, especially when they talk about Messi going through a goal drought like last season, Ronaldo not scoring as much, and I just laugh because it's like probably 1 game or 2 games. But I've noticed a decline in Zlatan Ibrahimovic's game for a couple of years, and because everyone loves him because he's so personable as a player, people automatically go on the defensive, whereas I think from a sheer footballing standpoint, I said he was not in my top 5 best strikers in the world, and I still stand by that. He doesn't come close to Suarez for me, doesn't come close to Aguero for me, he doesn't come close to Neymar, because I like to consider him to be a striker. I think that there was an argument maybe when he was a couple of years ago still in that, but now I just think that he's not in that top list for me anymore, and I don't think it's surprising because he is getting on, and he has been around for many years. People don't realise that. He's played for Ajax, AC Milan, Inter Milan, Juventus, Barcelona, PSG. That's a lot of teams he's played for.
Yeah, he's would that make him a journeyman? We call that in American sports when you kind of play for 7 different, I guess I could say clubs.
When I think of journeyman, I think of James Milner because he's just like a plumber. He's just a hard worker. He goes from the game into the toilets and fixes the drain.
And then he comes back out.
And then he comes back in, makes everyone food, then he goes and then fixes the light bulb. He's just a hard-working guy. Good
person, right down to his core. So I wanted to touch on AC Milan really quick because, and this is not just a Jason, you're going to talk about Balotelli because you love Balotelli moment. It actually has to do with AC Milan. So Berlusconi, Silvio
Berlusconi.
Thank you. Silvio Berlusconi, AC Milan's president, touched on this earlier in the week and said he felt better with Balotelli rejoining the team than Zlatan because, quote, Zlatan is getting older like me.
Yes.
And at 34 years old, yes, obviously Zlatan is a better overall striker
undoubtedly
than Mario Balotelli. There's really no arguing it. But from what he's shown, Berlusconi so far in his reloan from Inter Milan to AC Milan, doesn't seem like he's wrong in saying that for right now. So what the other important thing with Zlatan Ibrahimovic, I should say, is that he missed a basically open goal against
LEWANDOWSKI. Oh, that was good. I'm not even going to repeat it again because I did it pretty good. But this is okay. So one ridiculous comment from Berlusconi because no matter how,
I completely agree. I agree.
If this is someone like Harry Kane or something like that, then I could understand. You're like, he's young. We went for Harry Kane instead of Zlatan. We're trying to mature him into our way of life in Milan. But with Balotelli, like what you could have him for 12 years and he probably won't score as many goals as Zlatan would do in that 1 year because he's just Balotelli.
It's just the point that
like
we're revolving. If this is the point, we're revolving around the point.
Was Annika Spain on it?
No, and the point is that Zlatan's getting older.
Yes, he is.
And we don't know what his productivity is going to be, or I should more say his efficiency is going to be. No, he's still a good striker.
Yeah.
But it's like that. We use a stat in America called wins above replacement, which is basically, this is a very deep analytic, for the most part at least. And the wins, it's very simple to understand though. If you replace Zlatan Ibrahimovic with the league average at that position, you're seeing how many wins to a team that player is worth. I don't know if it could ever work in soccer.
That was a novel. That was an absolute novel.
It's not that bad at all. You can,
that was like Messi versus a field.
You're a smart guy. You're a smart Messi versus the pitch. You're a smart guy. You can figure it out. Commenters, you're smart too. You can figure it out. So
I get what you're saying. So it's like
he's becoming. What I'm trying to say is he's becoming that average level player at that position when you're comparing him to world football.
Of course, right? So like in that, and I still think he's going to be an absolutely useful player in League One to help PSG push forward. They've dominated that league now in the last couple of seasons.
That's the other thing. Who else is there?
He's been Lyon are a good team. I mean, Monaco's a good team.
A good defense last year in the Champions League.
They've got some competition there. It's not like, well, I was going to say like Bayern Munich in the last couple of years because they have competition now with Dortmund making a resurgence. Wolfsburg as well, good team. But he is good within that league, but I'm always thinking about PSG and whether they'll break through. So they beat Chelsea, right? And they beat Chelsea in the Champions League. It was fantastic. And then when they moved forward against Barcelona, I just figured that without Zlatan, they struggled. I think that Cavani could not fill that void that he left.
You have a vendetta.
I do, but then when they both came back, they had chances and they wouldn't finish them, whereas Luis Suarez, blindfolded, one leg behind his back, would have put them in the back of the net. Because that's the striker that we're talking about now. That is the level that is set. This level of strikers, I would say, is one of the most competitive that we've ever seen. Lewandowski is phenomenal. Müller isn't even a striker, but he's just banging in goals left, right and centre. Aguero, you've got Suarez, you've got Neymar, you've got Ronaldo considering if he's playing in that position. Benzema, I would say the line between who's a striker and who's not is getting blended more so because more people are coming up with goals.
They're like stretch positions.
Yeah, like I wouldn't consider
Messi is not a striker, but he's a stretch wing striker.
But Ronaldo I would consider more of a striker than Messi. We get into this debate, we could talk all day, but I just think that there is strikers out there that I would take over Zlatan Ibrahimovic, not just because of age, but just because in the last, I would have took them over him last year as well, and that's what I talked about when it came to FIFA, who everyone looks at. I still think they were generous to him, but he holds a place in everyone's heart because of his character. Because he does, and his technique. When you see a guy of that size and stature, I'll be able to do things with the ball that you just wouldn't even consider Messi would be able to do. You're like, wow, how's that even physically possible? And that's why everyone kind of holds him in that high regard. But from a world-class standpoint, he's still not in my top 5 strikers, and this is something that I kind of expected to see coming. But he might be able to go and maybe this season push PSG forward once he hits form because he's still got the ability to score. Might go to MLS.
Do you know what I would actually talk about a guy who would do very well in the MLS just because of how captivating he is? Zlatan Ibrahimovic would bring.
Sell jerseys.
Not just selling jerseys. He's the type of guy who you want to talk to after a press conference. Look at the quick example I'm going to use is Marshawn Lynch doesn't want to talk at press conferences, yet every reporter wants to get something out of him. Similar effects. Zlatan would have that same. He doesn't seem like he wants to talk at the press conferences, but when you do get something out of him, oh, it's always gold. Always gold. You did not do a bold.
I don't have my suspenders, man. I need to literally leave them out in the morning so I remember to wear them because I'm just going through a nice vest phase because it's so hot in LA. I just don't want to add any other things.
To me, that is so beyond me. The idea of I need to have a vest on
instead of a blazer.
Just take off the fucking vest.
Is this from the guy who changed 30 seconds before we went on camera because he had a shirt on
to put on
him look like a HR representative.
TYT Sports.
Represent. If you want to represent,
you can get one of these shirts if you want.
Well, as soon as we continue to subscribe, next landmark we make, next landmark we hit. We're not going to make any landmarks unless it's on me. If you want, next landmark we hit, we will hand out some shirts. So make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, hit the share button, follow us on Twitter at Francis_Maxwell, at Jason Rubin 91, and come back. Subscribe.